Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining our TagoIO webinar series 2023. Today, we will be talking about mastering TagoIO access management, which is extremely important for the platform and for you to understand. There's lots of different things you can do there that we'll go over today in detail. I am David Hall, the Customer Success Manager here at TagoIO, and I also have Philippe, who is a software developer, which will be assisting on the webinar. A couple things to note before we get started. There is a chat. Please, I encourage you highly to answer or to ask any questions, and we will answer them in real time. If we don't get to it in real time, then we'll get to it at the end of the chat. But I highly encourage to ask any questions that you have. One other thing to note, I will put my email address in chat. So you guys have that. And you could, if you don't want to ask questions now, or if you think of something later after you start interacting with access management, you can certainly email me directly and I'll be glad to assist you. Or maybe you just want a demo of the platform. Also very happy to do that for anybody that would like that. So with that, let's get started here a little bit. Today, we have a good agenda for you. We're going to talk about why and when to use access management. There's a couple different things around access management from a fundamental standpoint that you should understand, but then there's also concepts and steps that we'll be going over, settings that you should certainly understand, and visibility conditions. That's really the main part of access management. It does have a little more than that, but visibility conditions and what your users and your end users can see is really up to you on how you manage their access, so access management. Then we'll have a really cool live practice for you that Philippe will be assisting with. And then again, as I said, we'll have the Q&A at the end of the webinar, but I highly encourage you, just ask questions as they come up, and we will address them. So with that, let's think about it. Why and when to use access management? Like, when should you use this? What makes sense? And if we just think of a scenario here, one of the scenarios would be, you see in the red box, right? Let's just say this John Doe is a general manager of 3 different restaurants, right? And the 3 different restaurants are here on the map that you can see. Well, through access management, he has access to and visibility conditions and also the resources, the TagoIO resources that he can access for each of his restaurants that's under his general manager duties, right? And then on the left in the blue box, you see Kate Doe. Kate Doe is a manager of one of those restaurants. And what John Doe has done is he's given access to Kate to only see the TagoIO resources and visibility conditions for her restaurant. So she can't see the other 2 restaurants. And this could be done in many different areas. You can think of it as, also I work with a lot of distribution centers, right? And you have the hierarchy of the organization itself. And then underneath there, you have different warehouses. Same concept as what you're seeing here on the screen. Those same warehouses, all the employees of those warehouses or the management team of each warehouse don't necessarily need to see what's going on in other adjoining warehouses underneath the umbrella of the organization. So same concept that you're seeing here. So think of it like that. It's not just for restaurants or supply chain. It could be just for individual dashboards in your TagoIO application. You have a certain amount of people that want to see one dashboard and another group of people that want to see another dashboard. So think about access management as wider than just managing, restaurants or entities. You can really manage things within Tago itself. And then here, if we talk about access management a little bit, so what you're looking at here on your screen, this is the developer admin account within Tago itself. This is where you do your development of your dashboards. You attach your devices. You really can create your actions. Also configure your Tago Run. If you're not familiar with Tago Run, I like to think of Tago Run as the end user access, right? When you are distributing your dashboards, you are using Tago Run. When they access Tago Run, that is your end user portal, right? And then obviously with white label, you can certainly use white label and just white label the entire Tago Run environment to where they see your logo and your domain, and they don't see any reference of TagoIO at all or Tago Run at all. And you could really take that a step further as well as you build out your application. But what you're seeing here in the red box on the left is you're seeing the access management, and then on the right there, you're seeing users. Those really are synonymous, right? Because you are creating your access policies, which Philip will talk about here in a moment. You're creating your access policies for your users. So they're hand in hand in reality. But there's a lot you can do with access management. What you're seeing, and again, he's going to show you this, but just in reference to the picture, what you're seeing here for the green boxes is where your settings are and where you are granting access and things like that. So with that, I am going to pass it over to my colleague, Philip, and he's going to start talking about concepts and steps. But before I go, please ask questions. I'll drop my email in chat, and I'll see you guys in a minute.
Thank you, David. Well, when talking about access management, we have some key concepts about it. We have policies, so we can define policies for run users, just like David has given the example, and for analysis as well. We have the permissions, so we can grant permissions for some resources from TagoIO, for example, devices, dashboards, and more. And we have the action. The actions are creation, visualization, deletion, and more. For example, we can create a policy that grants access for a run user to create a device or an analysis to delete a dashboard. Moving on, we can, on TagoIO, create and invite multiple end users, and we can create our own access level hierarchy. As you can see in the picture on the right side of the slide, we have John Doe as a vice president, and we have the local manager and employees. We define that by using tags. So if you can see, and I'm going to get into details on the demo part, we have a tag called SX level vice president, SX level local manager, and SX level employee. And finally, we are going to establish policies that are going to restrict this assessment. When we are talking about access management, there is a feature which is pretty related with that. It's visibility conditions. With visibility conditions, we can define how the platform will look like for each user or for each device. We can create different Tago runs with different sidebars, or the dashboard can behave different for each sensor or for each run user. I'm going to get in details as well in the demo part of this presentation. So let's get into the demo part. Let's get in the practice. I'm just going to share my screen. As you can see here, we have prepared an application, just like the example we did in the slides, about restaurants. So we have 3 restaurants. One's gonna be in Raleigh, another in Georgia, and finally in Miami. For these restaurants, we have a bunch of end users, and we are going to build the following hierarchy. So John Doe with the tag access level vice president will be able to manage and see the data from the 3 restaurants. However, Alex Doe, which is a local manager, she can only see and manage her employees from the restaurant Georgia. Each employee will be able to see the data from restaurant Georgia, but they can't manage or see other employees in the same site. That's our objective for this demo part. That's what we're going to build in this presentation. Right now, for this application that we have built, we have a dashboard, the main dashboard that all employees are going to see. We can choose between the restaurant. This is a blueprint dashboard. That's why you can select different devices here. We have the blueprint device restaurant and blueprint device sensor. So I can see the humidity from Raleigh, for example, and we can also see the temperature and the employees. Let me change here. So I can see the temperature for Georgia, for example, and I can also see the employees from Georgia right here. That's all. That's our main dashboard, and that's what we are going to use in our presentation. We have also a management dashboard that's going to be only available for the vice president, where you can see the employees and can also change their location or change their access level by using the platform. That's our two main dashboards. Well, let me show you how we created the devices for this application. We have two kind of devices. We have the sensors that are linked with a physical device on the kitchen of each restaurant. So we have a temperature sensor in the kitchen of the restaurant Georgia and a humidity sensor in the kitchen of the restaurant Georgia. Also, we have it's kind of like a database device. Usually when working with application TagoIO, we create a bunch of devices that are not linked with physical device. We just use as a setting or a database. So for example, here we have the Restaurant Miami device, which just keep the information about the location of this restaurant, but we can keep anything that is useful, like for an analysis or for create a report and anything else. So this device right here is not linked with a physical sensor. It's just something to use as a database. We distinct these two kind of devices using tags. So we create a tag called device type, and we have the device type restaurant and device type sensor. You can build your own and give the names of the tags that you want to. Also, we have the restaurant ID. That's something to specify where this device is from. So this humidity sensor here is from Raleigh, as you can see in the tag restaurant ID. And we also have the tag sensor type to distinct between sensors from humidity and temperature. As we saw earlier, we have the users. So we have our end users, John Doe, which is the vice president, Alex Doe, which is the local manager, and the employees. And the same as device, we are using a tag like restaurant ID for specify their location and a sex level, like vice president, local manager, and employee. As you can see, the vice president doesn't have a restaurant ID because he has access to all the application. Now, finally, we are going to create the policies to ensure our hierarchy. The first policy that we are going to create is local manager and employees. You don't need to create a policy for each single user. You can create something abstract that are going to be used for both of them. I'm going to show you how. So the target can be an analysis or a run user. In this case, we are going to use run user. We have the option ID, tag, and tag match, and any. If you keep any, which means that all the run users will be using this policy. In this case, we're going to use tag match. We could use ID as well, but if we would use ID, we should be adding all the employees like that. This application will not scale good. This is going to be for each single run user, you would add another policy right here. So that's what we are not going to do. We don't want that. But just to make clear, one statement here works as a or operation. So for example, Peter Parker or Steve Rogers or Alex Doe. Any of them will be using this policy. We are going to use another kind, which is tag match. We are going to use tag match by restaurant ID. And we're going to create the permissions. A permission for a device, with blueprint access, and also tag match restaurant ID. So this means that a run user with the same restaurant ID as the device, he will have the same permissions for the device that has the same restaurant ID. So for example, Peter Parker, who is from Georgia, will have fully access from the device's data from Georgia as well. We are going to do that for the same for the run user using tag match. And we are going to do permission for a dashboard. In this case, we are going to select the dashboard by ID because we don't want that local manager and employee have access to other dashboards than the main dashboard. That's why I'm using ID right here. Let's create the policy. Let's check if it's working. I'm going to sign in as an employee. Yeah, so I'm on the main dashboard and I can see only the restaurant Georgia. Also, I can see the temperature sensor of this restaurant. Now, let's create the policy for the vice president, which is pretty simple because it's going to be all any. So run user with the tag access level vice president will have permission for devices, which is going to be any. And also it has the permission for dashboard. It's going to be any as well. And finally, permissions for run users. Create Y. Let's sign in as a vice president just to see how it's going to look like. As you can see, the vice president has access to all restaurants. You can see all sites. And also he can go to users, take a look in the employees of each restaurant and change, for example, their access level, for example. And then Peter Parker is also a local manager right now. We are going to make some improvement using visibility conditions because right now, for example, if I sign in as an employee, I'll be seeing the dashboard for users. We don't want that. We want to see just the dashboards that we have access to. And also I'm seeing the tab for employees, which we don't want that as well. Besides, Peter Parker now is a local manager. Stevie Rogers, for example, is not supposed to be seeing this tab. We achieve that by using visibility conditions. Let me show you how. First, go to Run, go to Sidebar. Here in Sidebar, we can set some visibility conditions. So we are going to add a new statement. Users with access level vice president are be able to see that sidebar button. Let's save. Refresh the page. And that's it. Now the local manager Peter Parker can see the sidebar button. We are going to do something similar with the dashboard. Here in dashboards, we can set visibility condition by tabs. So go to tabs, go to employees tabs, and then create a condition by user tag. So if user has access level vice president, And also, if an access level local manager, this tab is only going to be visible for this kind of users. Save. Let's sign in as a common employee. And that's it. You cannot see the employees from this site. We are going to improve as well by sensor type, because right now, if you go to the temperature dashboard, it's going to be empty and it's kind of look ugly. So you're going to use visibility conditions to act with the sensor type as well. So go to the dashboard, edit mode, edit dashboard, tabs, go to each tab, and we are going to configure visibility conditions again, but this time by blueprint device. So we're going to create a statement, which is sensor, sensor type, humidity. We're going to do the same for the temperature. So blueprint device, sensor type, sensor, sensor type, temperature. That's why we have the sensor type tag in the device. Confirm, save. And we can see in the admin right now that if we change the sensor, it's going to change the dashboard. But just to make it clear, we are going to use here in the TagoRun, and you can see that there is only one tab. And if it changes the sensor, it's going to change the dashboard as well. And we also have just the Georgia restaurant because Steve Rogers is related just with that restaurant. With this couple of steps, we were able to create a hierarchy, define our own hierarchy using access management policies, using tags, which is access level, and visibility conditions. Now our application will work differently and behavior different for each user, and also they are having multiple access of information. So John Doe will be able to manage anyone, and Alex Doe will be able just to manage their employees. Simply as that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your attention. I'll be moving on to David again.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a really good webinar. A couple things for reminders here. There we are. So if you want to create an account, we have free accounts, by the way. There's no trial period. You can create a free account. You can have 5 dashboards, 5 devices, and some other things. We also have our Learning Center, which is also free. It's broken up into 2 different modules. It's a fundamental module and then a more in-depth developer module. So you could learn a lot of stuff there. Tago is very big on self-help, right? So we have a lot of how-to demos. Obviously, we have these great webinars that we really like. Another thing to note, when you go on the Tago website, if you go to resources and then developers, there are free templates there. A lot of people don't know about these templates, but you can download these templates and start using them right away. And one cool thing about that, other than they're free, which is the best part about it, right? Who doesn't like free? Is that once you download them, you own them. You can do what you want with them, right? If you want to change the widgets or anything like that, change colors, attach different devices, you can do that how you want. And I do see we have a question here. How do you create an admin user account? I believe if Freddie's there, maybe he can answer that, but let me see. How do you create an admin user account?
I can do that. I can show you. I think it's better to show, right?
Yeah,
it's
sure.
easier.
Absolutely.
Let's show. Let me just. So here in the TagoIO website, you go to sign in, and that's it. You are in the admin. Go to sign up right here, and fill all the information, and that's it. You have a free account with up 10 devices, up 10 dashboards, and you can create your custom portal for your end users.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have a lot of resources on the site. As I said, I put a link for a demo. If you want an in-depth demo performed by me or my colleague Tiago, feel free to ask that, and we'll get right back to you on that. But other than that, we are always developing some really cool stuff here at Tago. So keep your eye out for upcoming webinars. Subscribe to our newsletter, so you'll really start to really understand what's going on in our Tago world, if you will. But other than that, I think that's it for today. We ran a little short, but that's all right. But please, everybody, reach out to me. Let's get on a demo and let's have a good call. And we'll see everybody later. Thank you.